Hey guys, Craig here again. Just want to take a minute and go through the numbers for the Panama City Beach housing market for September. We just did the condo one. I want to talk a little bit about the housing market. Let me pull up our page so you can see it. In the month of September, there were 323 homes for sale in Panama City Beach. That's all the homes that are for sale across the market. 83 new homes were put up for sale in the month of September. 51 contracts were written to buy or sell a home in September. We'll talk a little bit more about this in just a minute. 71 homes actually closed, transferred ownership. On average, it's taking about 107 days for a home to sell. It means get from being on the market to contract and finally to close. Again, that's an average for the marketplace. And one more average is that from the asking price to the final negotiated contract price or sale price, the number right now is 96.4%, meaning that sellers are coming down 3.6% off their price on average to get a property sold. If you look up here, most of the homes that are for sale are in the $225,000 to $375,000 price range. From $375,000 to $1 million is in second place with just about the same number. In the month of September, the average price sale was $310,495. Of the ones under contract, most of the action is here in this $225,000 to $375,000 range, followed closely by the $100,000 to $225,000, and then in third place, a little bit of activity in the $500,000 plus range, $500,000 to $1 million. Of the homes that closed, this is the ones that went under contract, of course, the ones that actually closed and transferred hands. Again, a lot of the action is here, the $225,000 to $375,000 range, and then second place, $100,000 to $225,000. So, a couple of things we need to talk about. One of the most interesting one is this 51 contracts that were written. Take a look at the last few months. August, there were 93. July, there were 98. June, there were 76. That's a huge number. 51 is a huge decrease on how many homes were actually sold in the month of September. But I don't want to put too much of cause too much of alarm out there. We had a really lousy month for weather in September. We had really bad torrential rains. We had all these threats of hurricanes coming through. If you think about it, essentially we just weren't open for business for a handful of days. People just weren't shopping for real estate. Agents weren't showing real estate. We were basically closed for business a good 5 days, 6 days out of the month. And if you think about it, that's going to derail a lot of things happening. The store is just not open for sale. So I want to keep an eye on that number. I would worry if October, November, we saw some of the same things. We might start to worry about a trend. Right now, though, my explanation for that, again, is that we had lousy weather. People just weren't out looking. Agents weren't out showing. I'm still pretty pleased with this number here. 96.4% is still a pretty solid number, showing that sellers aren't having to negotiate too much to get their property sold. That's a good sign for a healthy housing market. Buyers do need to be prepared that they've got to write some pretty strong offers, or risk losing on something that they like to someone else. So low ball seems like, for the most part, low ball offers aren't flying with sellers across the board. So buyers, if you find something that you like, be prepared that there's not going to be a ton of negotiating on the price. A couple of other things of note. Make sure if you see all this action of there's all these homes for sale in the $225,000 to $375,000 range, you see what's going under contract is mostly in that range and a little bit below. You see that most of the ones that are selling are in that range or a little below. It tells you a couple of things. Since most of the activity is in there and most of the amount of inventory is in there, you really want to make sure that if you are selling, that your marketing is really spectacular. There's a lot of competition. You really want to do some things to stand out in that market. The good news is there's a lot of demand in that market. So if you can do your job and stand out well, you know you're going to get some action. If you're in that 375 or higher range, certainly once you're getting over 500,000, there's less and less activity. That puts that much more of an emphasis on having really, really, really wonderful marketing. You really got to make sure that every little piece of the marketing plan is kicking, is fantastic, looks good, everything's running, everything's firing on all cylinders, because we're having to work harder in those price points to get homes sold. There's a little less demand. There's a little bit of competition in those markets, but certainly less demand. So you've really got to do some things to get creative in the marketing side. So it's a quick look at the September housing market in Panama City Beach. Anytime if you guys have questions, reach out. We're happy to ask questions, not just if you're thinking about buying or selling, but if you just have a question in real estate in general. Feel free to reach out. Go to the website, www.craigduran.com. All our contact information is there. Shoot me an email, text, phone call. Don't feel like you can't call until you're ready to buy something or ready to sell something. We like to give people information and help anytime. So feel free to reach out. That's a quick look. Hope you guys have a good week, and make sure you're checking back on the Facebook page for updates. That's where we bring out a lot of our new properties to the market, and a lot of information there. Between that and the website is a good place to stay current. Thanks, guys.